I'm a little late today. Sorry. I'm here though. Welcome. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good day. I had a crazy Monday. It's always crazy though. Welcome to the George Mossey Show. We're going to be talking about the single life. So we got this episode today, and I believe next week is the finale. Hey, Makeup. Kari, hello. Yeah, next week is going to be the finale of the single life. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Looks like Jamal has left Charlotte, and we're gonna see Chantel leave Greece. Dee Dee. Oh, there's Kara. So we're gonna talk about what happened on this episode. Not a lot. Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. That's weird. I saw Kara in here, but she didn't request. That's weird. That's strange. Anyway, I'm good. I'm good. How is things in your neck of the woods?
Hi. We got some
How are
bipolar weather like always. So
we got
the
rain all day
story of
yesterday.
our life is bipolar weather all the time. We don't know how to dress anymore, so we just go on with the flow.
We
I'm in
we got rain
storm.
yesterday.
I'm in a snowstorm, as usual.
Again,
As usual.
Are you serious? Holy
we
crap!
got some severe weather coming supposedly tomorrow, so we'll see.
I mean, you guys are where it's awesome and warm, and I'm a little jealous, but it's fine.
It was 88 today. It was very hot. I didn't like it at all. I was sweating. If that makes you feel better, I was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel so much better because it was a high of 30 here, so whatever.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, yesterday it was 85. Yesterday it was 88. But let's talk about the single life. Let's not get too caught up on the weather. Let's not get too caught up on that because I think that we're going to all have envy towards each other for some reason or another if we talk about that. So this episode, we watched Chantel and I can't get his name right, Giannis. And he said he really likes her. And is it weird that she wanted him to say that he loved her after knowing her for like 4 days? Like, is it weird that she wanted more than that? I was like, him saying that he likes you and inviting you to his hometown, I think that was enough, right? I feel like her expectations are really high.
She said she was catching feelings. They've been dating for 15 minutes. Come on.
Right. And I think this is kind of how she ended up in the situation with Pedro. She falls in love with a guy. Like, you know how some people, you spend time with someone and you start to like them, and then you start to care about them, and then you start to love them. She just goes straight to loving them. She skips all the beginning stages of it. Oh, Seth, funny, you're in Florida too. And I think, Mecca, I knew you were in Miami. I didn't know you were in Florida too. But yeah, I think that Chantel is what do you call those? A hopeless romantic. The person that has to be in love. Like, they can't date. They have to be in love.
That's what we'll call her. A hopeless romantic.
Well, yeah, I think you were going to go for more of like a desperate skank, right? I feel like that's where you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like that because I don't like to shame women for dating. You know, I feel like we've been doing that. Society has been doing that for a long time.
I'm not shaming her for dating. I think she should date 100 guys. She is beautiful. I'm shaming her for dating someone for 15 minutes and wanting to be married.
Yeah, that is shameful.
Yeah, that's
you know
the same
what? That
thing
is
we were
shameful.
talking about last night. She acts like she's thirsty. Like she's like one of them said last night, she's dehydrated. I mean, why is she going after men? Men need to be going after her. Like she needs to set her standards higher than what she's got them right now.
That's a good point. You're right. Men should be coming to her. Like, she should be on a dating show where men compete for her time, right? I feel like that would be more of the realm that she lives in. And I don't know if she believes that. You know, I think it starts within, right? The confidence starts from within. So I don't know if she knows that she's worth more than these men that she's putting all of her eggs in one basket for. Because I don't know. The guy seems nice, right? He seems very simple, though. Like, I don't know, like, if he could solve a math problem. You know, like, he's very simple.
Last week when they were eating their snails, she was pissed off because he wasn't making out with her the second she sat down. at a full table full of people with all of his friends, and he didn't just get up and make out with her. So this is, I don't want to, I try to side with everyone when they say it's not scripted, but this is the most scripted bullshit I've ever seen.
Yes, because she didn't know him before she got there. So I was like, usually we would watch somebody go there to meet somebody they have been talking to for a while. She literally found out he existed when she got there, if I'm not mistaken. Like, she didn't know about it, right, until they got there. And it seemed very planned, and I was like, well, how would she find a soccer player from Greece? Like, it had to be set up by somebody, right? Like, somebody would have had to set the whole thing up. And maybe his publicist was in on it, her publicist was in on it, who knows? We don't know. He might be very, very popular in the country of his origin. We don't know who he is. But in Greece,
also,
he might
why
be
do you have to leave the United States? Why does she have to leave the United States? There's so many people here. For crying out loud.
She wanted a foreign, what's she calling it? A foreign god or something like that.
A Greek god.
Greek god.
Yeah. But look at what the last time she got a foreign god got her.
Yeah, I think that her expectations are ridiculous, and she's looking for somebody to check off too many boxes at once. And like you said, I think she should date lots of different people, especially Americans, right? Like, not to be discriminatory, but I think she should stick with some local guys first, so she can spend as much time with them as she wants. Because her main problem was she didn't have a lot of time with him. But if she was dating a local guy, they could go out every weekend if they wanted to. She could spend all the time that she needed to either decide if he was right for her or wrong for her. She didn't have to squeeze it all into an 8-day trip, right? Like, she didn't have to squeeze the whole thing into one trip.
That was also her bitch about Pedro's. He was never. So, you think this guy's going to be home while he's in Greece and you're in the U.S.?
Well, right. And he's a professional soccer player, and they play all over, I'm assuming all over the country, right? Like, I don't know a lot about soccer, but I know that they play other soccer teams, right? So I feel like other teams aren't in your backyard, right? So I'm assuming you're going to have to go somewhere else. I've been to an NBA game. It's always some other state there, playing you. So I think that she's looking in the wrong places. Or, like you said, she's not looking at all. This is just a planned, scripted situation to get her on TV, because we all know the Family Chantel is done. It's no more. They're not airing any more of her show. That show is done. It's canceled. So maybe this is just her way of getting back on TV. She's not looking to actually get into any type of relationship, which I would be totally fine with. She just ended a 7-year unhappy marriage. Don't get into any relationship. Like I said last night, bang it out. Right? Every issue you have, if you have any trust issues, just bang it out. Right? Like, and if you don't like the guy, don't text him back. Like, there's nothing wrong with you
to go and taste all the flavors to see which one she likes the best.
Yeah, somebody said last night, all 31 flavors of the ice cream, right? Like, just try every single one. Some of them you're gonna hate, and some of them you're gonna like. Some of them are just okay. But until you try them all, you don't know what you like, right? And I feel like when you've been married for a long time and it doesn't work out, the last thing you ever should be trying to do is get married again. You should just be out there trying to live your best life.
Exactly.
So we were watching Natalie tonight, and so I don't know. I don't know how to say this in a really nice, non-rude way. Natalie was getting ready to go to meet Big Mike, who is a fan favorite of mine. I've always been a fan of Mike. He's a teddy bear, literally the nicest 7-foot tall human being you're ever going to meet. Yep. And she's getting ready to go see him in Josh's house. She drives Josh's car to go and meet another man who's actually her husband, ironically enough. And right. And it's just ironic to me because the mom, I don't want to say like she's her pimp, but she's kind of her pimp, right? Like, are you getting pimp vibes? Because like not even like a week or two before, they were pressuring Josh to put a ring on her finger. And now that Josh told her to kick rocks. And did you also catch on this episode that she was like, I broke up with Josh? And I was like, girl, lies. You didn't break up with Josh. Josh told you to kick rocks. Don't even sit up here and lie. We were there. I was like, don't be trying to sneak in there that you broke up. No, you've never really broken up with anybody. People ran from you. Yeah. Right? Like, people found out who you were. They put on their running shoes and they started sprinting away. Like, don't even sit up here and act like you
look back.
right? Like, you don't have the satisfaction of breaking up with people. People know you, and then 2 weeks later, they literally run away. They get on the next thing smoking and try to lose you from following them through their life.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Mike? We don't know his intention yet, but what do you think about him even showing up? Because some people are saying that him showing up is ridiculous. Do you think that since her mom wanted to see him and his money is what helped his mom get over here because she's here on asylum seeking status, but they needed money to process that situation. So do you think it was okay for Mike to meet with her, or do you think that Mike should have stayed away?
I mean, it's okay. He had a relationship with mom, but I think it's absurd that Natalie had to be there.
Well, Natalie
Yeah.
had to be there because Natalie always needs to have someone there to pay her rent, right? And Josh has bowed out. And it's just really weird to me the way that she looks at things, because she's like, oh, you know, now that I'm single, you know, I feel like I have feelings for Mike. And I'm like, but a week ago you wanted a ring from Josh.
Yep.
And it's like, it's almost like she's one of those people that isn't complete unless they're married or with someone. Because I don't understand how any living human being can go from I need Josh to marry me so we can be a family to 7 days later I still have feelings for Mike, and I think he still has feelings for me, and we should make it work and have children.
Yeah.
Who thinks that way?
She just wants a baby. She doesn't care who it's with. But
well, a baby,
she
and
has
then
no job.
also,
how's she gonna take care of this baby?
But my thing
Mike's
is,
money. Mike's money, right? Mike's money.
Yes, Mike's money. But my thing is, she was with Mike. Mike, I mean, I know he lives in the middle of nowhere, you know, but he worked hard. He gave her everything she wanted. She didn't want for anything. She didn't have to work, because we all know Natalie is, I mean, she's a nut.
Yeah.
And lazy. Yeah. She don't want to work. She wants people to take care of her. Okay, so now she kicks him to the curb. She moves to Florida, is spending his money left and right, which we found out on the tell-all.
Yep.
So, and then she starts dating Josh, and Josh is doing the same thing that Mike's doing, working all the time, not being with her 24/7. So she has to get rid of Josh. So now Josh isn't stupid like Mike is. I mean, I'm sorry, but Mike is stupid for taking care of her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now she's madly in love with Mike again.
Yeah.
But is she though, or is she just running out of options? I feel like
they don't know nobody want Natalie.
But I don't even know that she's capable of loving another human being, because she's been married. This would be the 4th time if she would have gotten Josh to put the ring on her finger. And, you know, when she was explaining, like, oh, well, it didn't work out with this guy because this and that. And I'm like, the common denominator is you, you know, like none of these men knew each other. The only common factor in this situation is you. And all of them decided that you were the issue and they no longer wanted to be married to you. Yeah. So like, you can't tell me that this guy was a liar or this guy works too much. It's like, you have to pick your battles. If you don't want to work, the person with you is probably going to have to work, because you both can't sit and look in each other's face and hope that somebody's going to pay the rent on the first. Like, if you don't like to work, you have to compromise to the point where, you know, the person you're with is probably going to have to work double because your ass ain't working at all, right? Like, there's no compromise with her. She's just like, oh, well, I don't want to work, and I want to live in LA, and I want to drive someone's car, but I don't want to pay for the car. I want to live in an apartment. I don't want to pay for the apartment. I want to be with somebody, but he shouldn't, you know, work too much. He should be all down my throat all day. And it's like, she has to compromise somewhere. The man that she's describing doesn't exist. The man who doesn't work but pays for everything, who has nothing but time to look in her crazy face. Like, this man doesn't exist. She's created this guy that she's looking for, and she hasn't found him. She's about to be 40 years old.
She needs her a diabetic daddy.
Yes.
Not a sugar daddy, a diabetic daddy.
Yes.
Oh, so like old, right? Right? Because if you're retired, you're right. If you're retired, you don't have to work and you got money coming in. You know, that's what she probably needs.
If you want somebody with her 24/7, she needs a diabetic daddy.
Yeah,
but let's be realistic. What relationships work where the person spends every waking moment with you, though? Like, you need your space. And I feel like Natalie is an invader of space. She's made it very clear that whenever Josh or even Mike, whenever someone wasn't always around her, it drove her crazy. And I feel like distance is what makes relationships last. Like if you both work and then you work in different places and you get to separate once a day and go to work, then come home to see each other, that makes your relationship stronger. I think that the more that you sit around and look in each other's face and bicker with each other, the worse off it gets. And she wants that. She wants that bickering. Because remember when Mike and her were living together and Scream, all she ever did when he came home was start fights with him. She likes to just bicker. Like bickering is a hobby of hers. Like and that's why I think it's very possible. I'm not a doctor. It's very possible that she doesn't know how to be happy. Like she's incapable of being happy. Her idea of happiness is bickering and complaining. When she's doing those two things, that is like her most happiest feeling. Like when she's angry, bickering, fighting, yelling, or saying someone isn't paying enough attention to her, or they're not taking her seriously enough, or they're not giving her a ring fast enough. That's like her most happiest state that I've ever seen her in. She does it in every relationship. She's one of those people who can take a perfect situation and find 4 things wrong with it. Right? She's one of those people.
I mean, she said that she likes to be in control. She likes to run the relationship.
Didn't get a job. You gotta get a job. Like if you want to be the one in control, usually because historically the person who holds the money is the one who's in control. They get to make the most decision in the relationship because they get to decide where they live because they pay. You know, so if your decision sometimes gets outweighed based on the fact that they're making, you know, the financial decision. So if she wants to control somebody, she's got to hold the money. You know, and it's not helping that she makes everyone that she's with miserable. Like Josh was miserable. He literally called her to that restaurant to rid her from his life. He was miserable. Mike was miserable. Every time he came home from work to take care of her, she was complaining about something. His house was too small. She didn't like that it was in the woods. He worked too many hours. He didn't spend enough time with her. They didn't go on enough dates. There was always something that the guy is doing wrong, other than the fact that she just gets to sit around all day and do nothing. You know, like be grateful. I kind of sound like Rob now. Like just be grateful and appreciate what you have, right? Like you have it pretty good. There's lots of people who would love to live in LA for free. Okay? For free. Rob was living in LA and he paid to live in that shitty apartment. He paid somebody money. She gets to live in an apartment in LA for free.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, I mean, even we've tried to run from her, but she's like a bad freaking rash. She just keeps reappearing no matter what we do.
I'm hoping this is the last we see of her. I can't imagine that they're going to keep her around any longer. And this season that they filmed was filmed like over a year ago. Yeah. So like I don't even know what she's really doing. I'm sure that there's someone new. There's another man in her life that's paying for her rent or whatever. But I'm hoping that we don't ever have to meet him or be a part of it. Like I don't want to be a part of it. Like at this point,
let's hope not. Because oh my god,
yeah, you're right.
We've had enough of Natalie.
Yeah,
she's very entitled, and it's interesting because they say that about Americans. They say that we're entitled. But I feel like she came over here and she set the higher standard for being entitled. You know, because she's not even from here, and I feel like she feels like she has more rights than us. You know, like the people who were born. I feel like she's just like, oh, I should be able to be in movies, and I should do this, and I don't have to work, and somebody needs to take care of me. And I think that the reason why she hasn't been able to stick with a marriage and stick with a man and start the family is because she doesn't understand how marriage works. I think that she doesn't see marriage as a team effort. She sees it as the man is supposed to make her happy, and she doesn't care if the man is happy or not.
Absolutely.
That's not her job. And I think that that's why men have head for the hills every time that they'll marry her. You know, she plays normal long enough to get him to marry her, and then when he realizes what he got himself into, he can't get away fast enough. Right? Like I would love to ask some questions of her first 2 husbands. Just, you know, just like some generalized questions. Like, right? I would just love to just hear, tell me what we didn't see, because what we saw was bad enough, right?
Yeah.
What we saw was bad enough. Tell me what we didn't see, because there has to be more to it, because for 3 different men to run and never look back, right? She's never been the one that got away to anybody. Even Mike has said.
And didn't even have a child with her. That should tell you a lot right there.
She's always been the one we want to go away.
Yes. That's true. The lose my number, lose my address, hopefully you never can find me. She's that woman. And I'm like, I just would love to hear her ex-husband's explanation of what happened. Like, you know, you watch those shows like Snapped, where they talk about a perfect relationship, these two beautiful people, they were married, and then all of a sudden one of them is dead in a ditch, and you're like, well, how did we end up here? I want to ask those questions, like, well, how did we end up here? How did we end up with Natalie the way she is now? Because do you think she's always been like this, or do you think it was a gradual thing?
I think she's always been like this. That's why she's on husband 4 and has no kids, and her mom's like, just freaking get married and have a baby already.
Worst advice ever. Like, let's picture Natalie as a mom, right?
No.
So Natalie.
No, that's not.
No
right?
child. That. No
That's
child.
not.
I don't think that she has the instinct to be a mom.
No.
Right? Because like when she has conversations with people, she can't read the room. You know how you can talk to somebody and you can kind of sense how they feel? I feel like Natalie can only read herself. She's like one of those, I think I tweeted it before, I think that she's an alien. Like, she doesn't have any human characteristics. She doesn't know how to read people. She doesn't have sympathy. She doesn't have understanding. She doesn't have compassion. The only thing she has those, but they only apply to her. If it applies to anyone else, it doesn't exist. She doesn't care how you feel. She doesn't care if you're happy. She doesn't care if you're sad. She doesn't care if things are going your way. She's the type of person where you could walk up to her and be like, hey, and you're like covered in blood, and she'll be like, so are you going to give me that $250? She wouldn't ask you why you're covered in blood because she doesn't care. You probably wouldn't even notice. Yeah. But she would be like, well, you said you were going to give me a free apartment in San Diego. So are we still on for that? Like, I feel like that's the type of person she is.
100%.
And her mom too. Exactly. You feel like her mom is like that too? Her mom is very disconnected with reality. Like, her mom should obviously see the problem where a week ago she was trying to marry Josh, and then the mom is like, you should marry Mike now.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, you're not her pimp. Stop just trying to get her married to the first living, breathing guy that you see. Like, I don't understand. And I get in certain cultures, you know, women aren't considered complete without a husband, but like, can she at least get to know somebody first? Like, her mom is just like, you should marry him and have a baby tomorrow. What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, yeah, I get that it's two birds with one stone, because at that moment she was still married to Mike, so they already had completed step one. I get that, but we can't forget that she was banging around while they were still married and spending his money while it was happening. Like, mom she ignores the red flags too. So it's like, I get where the apple fell from the tree. I can see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mark.
Yep.
3 husbands already, working on number 4. And I'm never one to tell women what they can and can't do, but like, me seeing Natalie as a mother, I don't see it. And I know
I can barely see Natalie as a human being, let alone a mother.
Well,
and
see, that's not.
And you know that I think is the reason why she wants a baby so bad is because she knows that she will get free money.
Yep.
100%. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, because if you are a parent, especially a mom, and you have a baby and you're homeless or you don't have money for food, there's like there's endless programs and charities for people in that situation. So that's actually a really good point, because
like
in our country,
here in my town where I'm from, I know people that the government pays them to sit at home to take care of their children.
Really?
They pay their rent, they pay their phone bill, they pay their car payment, they pay everything. They get food stamps, they get Medicaid, everything. Is all they got to do is sit at home and watch those babies.
Well, how come Natalie hasn't moved to Georgia yet?
Right?
So Natalie in Georgia. I'm going to send her to where you at.
You got enough there. You got Angela, so.
Yeah. I did not know that you could be paid to be a parent. I did not know that. That is so appalling.
And if you want to go to school, they will even give you a check, a monthly check, just so you go to school.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew I had my kids in the wrong state.
Right? Like, I know where to have kids now. Yeah. You know, like, okay, I didn't realize that the government was basically paying you to have kids. I thought the government didn't want you to have kids. Little do I know, I don't know anything that's going on.
Well, the town that I'm in, I know several people that is all they got to do is sit at home and take care of their kids. That's it. Just sit at home.
I wonder if that's what Natalie's plan is. Because if she was to have a baby by an American man, that man would be responsible for the child, and she could also, you know, partake in these different programs, you know, because we know
she's
now.
already got a green card, so yeah.
Oh wait, so if she has the baby before the green card, how does that work?
Got her.
But
she
she's
has
got
a
a green card, but as long as you're in the, as long as they're in process of getting the green card, then you know everything's good. They can still get their like different things from the government. But if they're illegal, then no.
I thought when you had that sponsor, I thought that you couldn't apply for government assistance. See, I don't see that. There's a lot that I don't know.
I thought that when you had a sponsor, if you guys split up, the sponsor is responsible for paying.
Sponsor is still responsible for you for 10 years, whether y'all together or not.
So they're responsible for paying it back.
Yes.
So you can apply for it and take it, but they're on the hook for the amount of money that you receive. That makes more sense. Okay. So because I don't see the government telling a mom.
I was saying, TJ, you can't in Oregon. Like you don't get to just stay home and take care of your kids.
Well, no, not here either. No, like there's no program that's gonna pay you to do what you're supposed to be doing. No. I've never heard of it. Even when I lived in Ohio, I never heard of it. Nobody's gonna help you do your, like, that sounds like what Rob would want, like somebody to pay his rent while he just plays video games. Like that's not a thing. Now
the sponsor is responsible for you for 10 years. So if whether you sign for I'm answering this question, the diva. Okay, whether you are married to that person or someone else sponsors you, whoever sponsored that person, whether it be you or someone else, if anything happens to that couple or to you as a couple, then you are responsible for 10 years. So if they are out of work, or if they have to go to the hospital, or if they have to go to the doctor, or whatever it is, you have to make sure that the bills are paid. And if you get insurance, so you have health insurance, they have to be on your health insurance. You have to take care of them for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
TJ said that her and her husband are sponsors, and the government and the person isn't allowed to get on any type of government assistance, or the spouse. So you can't apply for it. I wonder if that's just in the state that you're in, because she said you can't even apply for it.
Yeah, there's so much you can't do in Oregon.
Each state is different, but
yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know what? It's hard to speak about laws, you're right, because in every state there's a different law, and there's like variations of laws. Like there'll be a universal law, but there'll be like 50 different,
but now,
like, loopholes in it.
Excuse me. Didn't we on one of the episodes of seasons of Family Chantel, I don't think it was the last season, but it was the season before last, I think, where we found out that it went from 10 years to life. Like, you have to take care of them forever as long as they're here.
Wait, really? It went to life? But yeah, even after they get their green card?
With Bilal and Shida. One of them found out that it was like...
I recall something like that happening. I want to say it was when, you know who was president.
Yeah.
I think it was something he did, because a lot of people said it was something that he did. And I wonder if that's still in effect.
I think
that's scary though, because like Chantel, that would mean that she'd be fully responsible for Pedro, right?
No,
or is it not retroactive?
I think it was if you married before that law took effect.
Oh,
you were good. But I remember maybe it was Bilal and Shida that we heard it about. Somebody recently said that,
because
that it went.
He was really cheap.
Yeah,
he was really cheap. So something like that probably would have really irked him. You know, like in his mind, Bilal thought that everybody was after his money. Yeah. So I think that type of law probably would have deterred him from saying.
I mean, Shada did act like it, so I mean.
Real quick though, it was his fault, because he kept going over there to Trinidad and was shopping and taking her out to the most expensive places and showing her a lifestyle. So I don't blame her for coming over here and expecting that lifestyle that he showed her, because I consider it was false advertisement if he went over there and he showed her a lifestyle, and then brought her over here and told her, okay, no, we're going to live in this shack and you're not going to get, like, no, that's false advertisement. You know, I think that you have to, and this same thing happened with Enfisa and George. George promised her allowance. He promised her all these nice purses, these nice clothes. Then she got here and was like, oh, I don't really have that much money. That's false. I feel like that's fraud.
They're living in a hotel.
Yeah.
No wonder she stayed mad all the time. I'd be mad too.
Also,
but
he went to jail, so
yeah.
Here.
But
it was
at the end of the day, Nuttily does not want to work. She wants somebody to take care of her.
Yeah.
And if she were to have a child, and if she were to, I don't know the laws in other states. I can only talk what goes on in my state because I know what the laws are. But say, for instance, California is like my state. She would have it made.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who know how to get over. You know, there's a lot of programs that help, but you have to, because you have to fall within certain criteria, but they somehow figure out a way to fall under the right criteria, and they're able to advance from taking advantage of that stuff. Because I see these programs.
Natalie's gonna be able to pull more strings just because she's like refugee status now. So everybody's like, oh, poor Ukrainian, you know. So I mean,
would she still be considered refugee even though she came over before the war?
Her mom's with her, and her mom.
Oh yeah, that's not fair because she was already here. So to claim that status, it makes it seem like she escaped from something, but she didn't.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the way that sounds because it's gonna make her think she's entitled to something, and I feel like she's already entitled to enough, right?
Yeah.
She already thinks people need to freaking pay for everything, so.
Yep.
So I want to ask this question.
We don't got to deal with her no more after this one. She's
After
a nut.
I think that she should be done, but I want to ask this question. So, Ruben is worried about Debbie having contact with Osama's family, and he's sending money, or she's sending money. And I want to get your thoughts on this because she said in the episode, she's like, I have a responsibility to make sure that they are in a safe place. Why does she have a responsibility to make sure that they're in a safe place? Did I miss something?
Nope, I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking too. When did it become her responsibility?
And do you remember when she went to stay over there with his family? Their home was very nice. It was multiple floors. It was very clean, and they had their own farm. So what happened that they're in need of her money now, other than they're just taking full advantage of this woman?
Yeah,
that's just in my opinion. I feel like.
You froze up for a second, George.
Oh.
You're back. You're back.
Oh, okay. So when did this happen that they need her money to survive? Because they had a farm of their own. They had a very nice home, and I'm trying to understand why she feels like she's required, because she was like, it's her responsibility to make sure that they're in a safe home. Why? She didn't marry their son. She has no ties to the family, and in her mind, her and Osama are done forever. She made it very clear that she didn't want to be with him anymore. I'm trying to understand why.
She says. I think there's still something going on there, because there ain't no way in HE double hockey sticks I will support a man and his family when I'm done with him. No way possible.
Do you notice that the way she explained their relationship in the beginning, she said it wasn't a sexual relationship. They had a really strong friendship. Do you think that the friendship part is what she has a problem giving up? Do you think that she wants to keep him in her life on a friendship level, and he's manipulating her through that to get money? Do you think that's what's going on?
I don't know the whole situation with them, to be honest. That's the most confusing relationship I've ever seen.
We didn't really see enough of that relationship to really.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
we
knew he was.
We thought he was scamming her, but then on this season of The Single Life, she informed us that he was trying to be intimate with her all the time. Because at first I thought, it was like a Justin and Nikki thing. The money is there, you do what you have to do. But she said that he was trying to be intimate with her and have an intimate relationship. So I was confused because I was under the impression that he thought she was a sucker. He found a good sucker and he was using her. That was my first thought.
I still think that, but I don't know. I don't understand why she's has any responsibility to this family at all.
Well, do you think it's weird that she said that she has responsibility to his family? Because we all know that he lives with his family. It kind of seems like just a better way of saying I'm still sending him money. She's saying I'm sending his family money. She's sending it to Osama. Like, let's just be real.
Julian said she's sending him money.
Yeah, she's sending it to Osama. He can say what he's doing with it. He can say, I'm helping my family, I'm blah, blah, blah. She's sending him money. And I just don't understand if it's a friendship thing or not, why you feel obligated to send him money. But we have to remember, he had been asking her for money the whole friendship.
Yeah.
So it always made it seem like, oh, well, it's for my art and it's for this. And she always said she had a really soft spot for him because of his...
Was tonight the first night everybody heard that they were going to open an art studio? Or did I miss something along the way?
No, tonight was the first night that I heard about it too.
I didn't hear that they were going to open one there in Morocco. No, they never really said that on her season. And I know that she's been talking a lot lately that she wants to open an art studio. She had like a sponsorship page and she does videos on it every week. But I never heard that she wanted to do anything. First of all, how is she going to open it with Osama? She was going to open it. She was the only one who had any money. He didn't even have a job. So, like, why would she say that she was going to do anything with him? He would be a broke partner. Like, if, in my opinion, if we're going in business together, you're putting money into it. Absolutely. He never put money into anything that they did. So when she said that they were going to do anything together, I was like, well, you were going to pay for it and he was going to tag along. Say what it is. You know, I don't like the way that she tries to make it seem like he's not the scammer that he is. And I get it. I get that she loves him as a friend and their bond grew from friendship. She said in the beginning she didn't have any physical or sexual attraction to him in the beginning. It was a friendship that they built based on his art and her love of art and his paintings or whatever. So I get that, but I still think that she's sending him money and I can't pinpoint why she would be doing that.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't want to be with him anymore, cut him off, block him from your life.
I still say they're in a relationship.
Well, do you remember on the last tell-all for their season, Sean was like, is it over between you and Osama? And she said something like, we will have to see how things go, or only time will tell, or our friendship is... She said something open-ended. And everybody was really worried about that statement because they were like, she said correct answer to that
something question. To the effect of the door is closed, but it's not locked.
Yes, right. It was open-ended to the point where she didn't say us being together is completely off the table. And I'm beginning to think by her still sending him money, she is still holding on to something with him. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor. I can't figure that out. But I think that she's holding on to something with him. If you don't want to be with somebody, you will cut them off. You know, a lot of people say exes are not meant to be your friends. So if you had a bad situation, a bad relationship, keeping them in your life is toxic. So you X the person out of your life so you can move on. It's not that you have any ill will or you want anything bad to happen to them, but the healing process starts when you remove the pain and the wound and the trigger. That person are those things. So you're never going to move forward if you keep the wound, the pain, and the trigger with you. Yeah. You know, the wound is always going to be open.
Yep.
Exactly. I still say they're together, so we'll see.
Well, maybe. I mean, now that I know she's paying for his rent, that's a little extra for me. Okay, so John drove 1,300 miles and he moved. Did you notice that he got all of his stuff in one box?
Yeah.
Can you imagine packing your whole life in one box?
No.
I can't even pack all of my socks in one box.
Me too.
So I was just like, you really, right? I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like, literally, I could fill a box with pajama pants. Not the shirts, just the pants. Like, that's how much stuff I have. So he put everything in a box in a garbage bag. And he drove 1,300 miles to go to Megan's to move in. And we found out that she is putting him in her daughter's bed because her daughter sleeps with her. So I wanted to ask this question because I know this is a really weird question for some people. Some people feel different ways on it. Your children sleeping with you. I know when they're a baby, you're not supposed to have the baby in the bed with you because you could accidentally roll over on the baby. Like, what is the right age for your child to be promoted to their own bed, or is there an age?
I mean, I think it's whatever works for each individual situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
so do you think that since she's nonverbal, it's why she's still in bed with her mom now, so she can keep a close eye?
It could be.
If
Yeah.
it was me, I'd be more protective.
Well, if she has a night terror, she's nonverbal, so she's not able to call for her mom. So I think that there's going to be a little more worry in Megan's mind. Or say, for instance, say she wanders around the house in the middle of the night. She doesn't speak. So, there's been lots of news stories where little toddlers wandered out into the street at night or stuff like that. So I know being a parent, there's like endless worry and responsibility. I can't imagine what it's like to be a mother and be a parent, because it's literally the anxiety and the stress of just worrying all the time, right? And you can't even send your kids to school these days because horrible things happen at school. So it's like, I don't even know what it's like for her to even go through that, but to also have a daughter that's nonverbal who can't tell her what's going on. So what do you think, how do you think this is going to affect their relationship? Because John wants to obviously sleep in the bed with his not fiance yet. She wants him to be her fiance, but not yet. But he wants to be, that relationship, he wants them to be closer. He feels that he moved states to be in the same bed, with the person that he's with, not sleeping on the other side of the house. So how do you feel that this is going to affect him? Because as a man, men don't fully understand everything. Men, it takes a lot longer for men to understand the severity or the complexity of a situation. I don't think he's going to understand that this is a serious situation for them specifically because of the situation of her disability. So how do you think John is going to accept that? Because he's talking about having sex in the laundry room. Like, he doesn't really understand why, she sleeps in the bed with her. He's going towards what he wants.
I don't think it's going to go well.
Me neither. I don't think they should have never moved in together. Maybe he should have moved to move to the same town so they could be around each other more. But I don't see it working out in the long run because he's not recollecting I mean, he doesn't even know what it's like to have a child.
Yep.
So how is he even going to really fully understand to have a child with autism?
Yep.
I don't even think he's had a dog. So, like, I don't even think he fully understands the responsibility that comes with it. And then, like I said, this is a completely more complex situation because this baby needs her mom more than any other child, because her mom needs to be there because there's no verbal communication. So this baby is going to need her almost for like her whole life. There's going to be a lot that she's going to need somebody there with her all the time, especially at these younger ages. You have to watch what's happening because you can't just leave your child around anyone or put them in any type of situation. They can't report back to you of what 100%. They've experienced. Right. So I don't know. I think that he's going to realize pretty quickly that he wasn't ready for this type of complex relationship. This relationship is way more mature than he's ready to handle. And the first compromise, I think he faced the first night. He wanted to have sex the first night he got there. And I think the very first realness that he got was, whoa, this situation, it's more serious and more complex than I put my first mind to. And I think that it's going to hit him really hard. He's going to want what he wants, and he's going to be back in Vegas, back in his brother Carlos's house pretty quick, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Especially, her verbatim, she said, hold on, I wrote it down so I wouldn't get it wrong. She said, in 3 months, it's almost going to be a year. So there's no such thing. In 3 months, it's almost. Either it is or it's almost a year, first of all. But second of all, that means you've been dating for 9 months and already wanting a ring after you just moved him in? Like, you're doing this in all the wrong order.
Yeah, 9 months, you move a total stranger into your home that you've only seen a couple of times. You have a nonverbal baby at home. I mean, just because he's okay whenever y'all by yourself doesn't mean that he's okay when he's around children or put in a predicament like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that
that's just no. If I had a child that was nonverbal autistic. First of all, I ain't gonna be moving a man in my home within that short of a time. But I mean, I would keep my child in the room with me 24/7.
Yep.
I think that it's going to be a huge adjustment, not just for John, but for the baby too, because she, you know, when you have an autistic child, them being around strangers is a huge trigger.
Yeah.
They need that familiarity of the people and that trust. And even though she's nonverbal, she has an unspoken trust and bond, you know, and I'm probably with her grandmother, with her mom, people that are constants in her life. And I think that bringing a stranger around the child who's suffering from that's a huge trigger. You know, that's when she can really go into what do you call it, rejection of that person, like rejecting that person being around them, rejecting their presence, rejecting their company, you know, because you can't just bring some weird strange person. You know, we learned this a little bit with Cleo. When Cleo was helping us understand what it's like for her to go into like a public place with strangers.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just really difficult for her, and this her being an adult, someone who had this situation going on for her whole life, it was still hard for her. So imagine someone as young as this little girl dealing with a strange man moving into the house that she's met. I think John said the first time he met him was on the last trip, right? This is a complete stranger. That's not even long enough to get accustomed to someone. So I think that everybody in this situation, it's going to affect them a lot more than people are realizing. I think everybody is going to go through a lot more change and realization than they bargained for. And I think it's going to blow up on both sides. I think that Megan is going to want him to leave because I feel like John is not going to step up enough to help her. Because I think that she's looking at it as he's going to be a part of the team. Because imagine she works, she takes care of her child, she takes care of a home. She's looking at John to move in and help alleviate some stress. And I feel like John might come in and be an extra child for her. And I think that she's probably going to want him to leave too.
He has no job, so.
Well, yeah, she's going to expect him to help out. And I don't know if he's used to that. Like, did you notice when he was packing how dirty he left that room? I was like, I'm sorry, that's a hot mess. You're going to need to clean that up. Like, for an adult, you know, he's definitely a teenager in the mind. Like, the way that he cleans, the way that he lives his life, the way that he has no lease in his name. He's always doing whatever, he's on whatever couch he can surf on at the time. I don't know. It's just, this whole thing is wild for me because I just feel like, in my mind, she's putting way too much expectation on him and she has no reason to. Like, her expectation is really high, and he's giving her zero reason to believe that he's going to be able to meet any of those expectations, right?
Yep.
So Jamal and Veronica, after their fight, they were finally back because we missed them like for a week or two, right, from the show. So they were finally back. He did not leave and go to a hotel. They actually apologized to each other. They both admitted that they were wrong, and they worked things out. And he said that he was considering moving to Charlotte to be with her. And I'm thinking, y'all were on this trip for like a week. It went really, really bad. So like the idea that you're considering moving to be a part of more of this chaotic situation would be crazy to me because I don't care what anyone says. Tim is always going to be an issue in that situation. And it doesn't have to be Jamal. Jamal isn't a constant. Jamal is just current. You know, whoever is in the space that Jamal is in, whatever man it is for Veronica, Tim is going to be an issue for that man. It's not Jamal specific. Because I think Jamal thought in the beginning it was specific. He's like, well, why don't you like me? Why do you have a specific issue with me? And I don't think he did. I think you're in a position that he doesn't want any man to be in. And he's going to make it.
Be in that position.
Exactly. And he looks at it like, well,
he low-key wants to be with Veronica.
Veronica is the issue, though, because she hasn't put her foot down and told him, look, there's absolutely no chance we're ever going to get back together. And if you're holding on to anything to make you think otherwise, you need to let it go.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's her fault. She's holding him in that place to disrupt her personal life, to disrupt her dating life, to disrupt her happiness, but she's enabling him to do it. You know, if anything, if you are dating, keep him away.
Yeah.
Tell him that he doesn't have the right to meet the person that you're with until he's mature enough to act like, you know, he has some civilized sense when they come around, because she's allowing him there to be toxic to the people that she brings into her life. And I don't care if he's Chloe's dad, or if he's, you know, her best friend. Friends don't sabotage each other. And I feel like Tim has been sabotaging her and her love life since they broke up, right? Because remember, she was dating the guy Josh last season. Tim was showing up while they were on dates, showing up to the house unannounced, sabotaging that. Then this is a pattern.
Sitting on the couch waiting on him. Just let itself in.
Waiting to sabotage. And it's like, if this man was your best friend and he was the father to your daughter and he cared about you, he would care about your happiness. Right? Like, I feel like he would want you to be happy whether it's with him or not with him. And if he doesn't want you to be happy without him, then he's in love with you. And she has to address it. And it might be difficult. I don't know what it would be like to rid a best friend from your life, but she might have to draw a very thin line and tell him, like, look, you're going to have to stay out of my personal life to the extent of, you know, dating, relationships. We're going to do double dates. You know, like, you're going to have to keep your distance until you're mature enough to understand that I can be happy without you, you know?
I'm glad he was.
So what do y'all think? Is Jamal going to work this out with Veronica? Is he going to move?
No.
What are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think Tim is going to be overwhelming for him.
I think that they were having fun.
I can say though, hats off to Kim, because she raised him to be really respectful. Because any other person in that situation, the way Veronica was acting, they would have walked out. He handled the situation very well.
Yeah, I definitely would have had some more choice words to use when she was like, "Oh, pack your shit and go." Like, she talked to him as though he was a child. You know, and she was like disciplining him. And I don't know, I would have had a lot more choice words to say. He did handle it very well, and he was respectful. He apologized even when I thought that she should have been the one to apologize. He still offered an apology. That shows a lot of maturity. And I think that, you know, the fact that they were able to work it out, sleep in the same house that night, speaks volumes for both of them. Because if somebody talked to me the way that she talked to him in the car and in the house, we're not going to be spending much more time together, right? Like, we're not going to be spending much more time together. So the fact that they were able to work it out as much as they did, but I do think that this relationship is fun, you know. And I said, like, on Twitter tonight, I was like, I think outside of the attraction and the intimacy, there's nothing else going on there. And, you know, I think that it's run its course. They've realized, you know, there's way more obstacles to make this work than it's going to be worth. You know, you're going to put in way too much work to make this work. And then even if they tried, it's not going to last. Because no one's ever going to put up with Tim. No one's ever going to deal with it. Like, nobody wants to date their girlfriend and their ex-boyfriend, because that's the situation. He has a key to her house. It's too much. Like, I can't even imagine the fact that if she's in a relationship and it's serious and he moves in her house and this man has a key to their house, like, how is this ever going to work?
No, it's not.
Yeah, Alvin, they had sexual chemistry. Yeah, they were very attracted to each other. The chemistry was there, but I didn't even see, like, their personalities working together. Like, I feel like Jamal is kind of a smartass and she's more of like a confrontational know-it-all. You know, like, I don't know. I felt like it was gonna be too hard. Like, she's gonna say something and then he's gonna try to be funny and then she's gonna try to correct him and then they're gonna be in an argument all the time. Like, because she can't be wrong and he always wants to be funny, whether he's right or not. And I feel like she's too serious all the time for that. So I don't know. I was like, other than them being attracted to each other, being really good-looking people, I think it's run its course and they're gonna realize that, hey, there's nothing else here. We had our fun. You know, playtime is over. It's time to go be adults on the opposite sides of the country, right? I feel like that's how it's going to go.
Absolutely.
So next week is the finale of The Single Life. And then we're going to go into the tell-all. I think it's 2 parts is what I heard. It's going to be a 2-part tell-all Did you guys notice that Tim and his story was very, very, very light this season? Like, do you remember Louisa? Like, I feel like we didn't really focus on their relationship at all. So I'm assuming there isn't one. That's just what I'm assuming. I don't know. But I feel like he should have been, there was no effort at all. He was always wherever Jamal and Veronica were. But when it came to him and Louisa, we got very little to nothing.
Yeah,
at all. So I'm
feel
assuming
like he was like, I didn't feel like he was actually on this episode or on this season. I feel like he guest appeared in a couple of their scenes, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. He was more so there to comment on Jamal and Veronica's situation than he was to actually date someone. Yeah. And I feel like Louisa got like the shortest end of the straw. You know, like she wasn't even on the show. Like she should have been a main cast member dating a cast member, but she wasn't even there. Yep. Like there wasn't even any, like, I think we saw him on maybe 3 or 4 episodes. Like it was nothing there. So I'm assuming that he was supposed to be on to discuss Jamal and Veronica's relationship, and then they threw Louisa in there just in case people question why he was there. You know, that's just my assumption. I don't know. But next week is the finale of The Single Life. And did anybody watch Diaries yet? I didn't, but somebody told me that this was the last episode. Is that true, or no one knows?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I haven't watched it. After last week, it was so boring last week.
Yeah, it's been pretty dry, and so. And then it's a lot of the people are the people we're gonna see on Happily Ever After anyway, so it's kind of pointless to see what they're doing because we're literally gonna get an in-depth look of what they're doing for a whole 5 months, right? So it's kind of pointless to really get into what's Bilal and Shida up to, or Emily and Kobe, or Angela and Michael, because we know. Yeah, you know, we know exactly.
We already know what's up, so.
All right, so. I'm gonna watch Diaries. Somebody on Twitter said that it was over after tonight. I don't know. I can't verify that. I didn't see it yet. But if that is true, this week we're gonna start Seeking Sister Wife, which is one of my favorite shows. Right? Like I don't know. I'm not like trying.
I'm obsessed with that show.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like date multiple like wives or anything. It's not for me. But I like watching other people try and fail miserably. So the show has become one of my favorites. So I'm going to be covering that on a podcast. So if y'all are interested in the show, like I'm going to do like a Seeking Sister Wife podcast so we can discuss the craziness of these multiple I think they're polyamorous, right? Relationships. Yeah. Well, no, because only the man is poly, the women aren't. So I think these are polygamous relationships, right? Polygamous relationships. So yeah, we're going to get into that. Make sure you're following my co-hosts Kara and Dee Dee. They're tagged in this video. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, GeorgeMossey.com. Anywhere you get your podcast, type in the George Mossey Show, or anywhere you stream in music, type in the George Mossey Show. Oh no, Diva Speaks. It's not scripted. It's a reality show. It comes on TLC. This is like the 3rd season, I believe. So yeah, you might want to start at the beginning, but some of the people from the 1st season are on it still. It's pretty easy to follow, but no, it's not scripted. It's actually, we know it's not because there's one lady who's like in a multiple relationship who is super unhappy and she cries every time he tries to get a new wife. That's how we know it's not scripted. Like she freaks out. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. We're going to be talking about it. All right, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for staying up late. We're going to talk to y'all really soon. I don't know what day, but we'll be back one day this week with that Seeking Sister Wife podcast. So I'll talk to you guys really soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.